Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Tinfoil Hat Club, the only show on the internet whose sole purpose is to piss you off. To piss you off at local government, to piss you off at state government, to piss you off at the federal government, to piss you off at all of them to the point you will get off your butts and take action. So hang around, folks, because here we go. Hello everybody, welcome to the April 1st episode of the Tinfoil Hat Club, where we try to piss you off, make you mad enough at government to do something, to call your senators, to call your representatives, to call your local people that represent you, mayors, county commissioners, and so forth, state legislators. But today, I'm going to ask you to do something else. Today, I'm going to tell you that another thing that being pissed off should result in is you making a little trip down to your local gun store. If you don't have a gun, buy one. If you got one, buy another. If you got all the guns you need, buy ammunition. I'm not suggesting that you take those weapons and go out and start problems. I am suggesting that you keep them on hand for the reason that the Founding Fathers put the Second Amendment in the Constitution. It wasn't so you could go duck hunting. It wouldn't be needed back then to go hunting. That's how you fed your families. The Founding Fathers put the Second Amendment in the Constitution to protect against a tyrannical government, and we have one, people. I'm not suggesting you go out and start a war. I'm not suggesting you go out and start the Second American Revolution. Hell, Obama already did that. He uses drones to kill American citizens and thinks there's not a damn thing wrong with that. No, I'm suggesting you get guns, and I'm suggesting you get ammunition, and keep it in your house. And if the government shows itself to be tyrannical enough that we need to fight back, I suggest that you be ready. I'm not calling for any kind of illegal activity. I'm calling for you to live a peaceful life in your own home and be prepared to protect that peaceful life. Now, what kind of things do we have today to show just what a tyrannical government we are developing? Well, did y'all know that last Thursday, President Barack Obama signed an executive order? He loves those executive orders. It establishes a presidential commission to deal with election administration. I'm not the only one that says that that's an attempt to nationalize the country's elections for partisan advantage. I'm not the only one that says it's not necessary either. Obama says that that's needed because of the long lines voting last time, and we need to streamline our voting process so that more people can vote, so that everybody who should be allowed to vote gets a chance. I call bullshit on that one. There have been several studies done since last year's elections that show there were no lines of people waiting to vote on general election day. The only lines that existed were people that showed up for early voting, and frankly, I don't think early voting should be legal. You should have to get off your sorry ass once every 4 years, or if you want to count the off years, once every 2 years and go spend a couple of hours standing in a damn line to vote. We live in the best country on the face of the earth, despite this government we have now. And if you can't spend a couple hours every 2 years to keep it that way, well, you're not worth even considering. But anyway, President Obama's trying to nationalize the election system. You know, elections have always been the purview of the states. I guess that's one more example of Barack Obama saying that the 10th Amendment doesn't exist. Let's see where else we're going to go today. Let's talk about the fact that today, April 1st, is the 71st anniversary of FDR. You know FDR, that hero of the left? Today is the 71st anniversary of President Roosevelt's concentration camps. And that's what they were. On April 1st of 1942, the state of California announced that they were going to arrest and deport Japanese citizens. Not citizens of Japan, Japanese Americans who were citizens of this country in California. They were sent to what was called internment camps. They weren't internment camps. They were gulags. They were concentration camps in Idaho. Now, you've heard the story of Japanese concentration camps. You also know, I suppose, that Congress never voted on it. The only person in Washington who was against it was a really unlikely person, J. Edgar Hoover. Those people were released in early 1945, and you know what they got when they released them? Now remember, they walked out of their houses, they walked out of their businesses, they walked out of everything they owned with what they could carry on their back. And they were put in concentration camps in this country, just like the Soviet Union's camps in Siberia, just like the Nazi Germany camps for the Jews and the other undesirables. Well, in 1945 they were released. These people who walked away from businesses they had built, who were living the American dream, who were loyal Americans, they were handed $10 and a train ticket back home. They didn't get anything else. And they didn't have any homes to go back to. The government had stolen their homes. Yeah, we don't have a tyrannical government, do we? Our government takes care of us. It's a good nanny state. That's what we're told, and that's something that's supposed to make us feel good. Well, I got news for you, folks. Scariest words in the world are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Government has gotten where it just thinks it is God. It can do anything. It can treat people any way it wants to. And if there's a oopsie, well, it gets about as much attention as anything that is an oopsie. Baltimore, Maryland. A Navy veteran was shot and wounded by police while testing a shotgun in his backyard. Now, he shouldn't have been shooting the shotgun in his backyard, but he wasn't shooting at anybody. He was firing the gun into the ground to get used to it and see how it worked. See, he had been broken into a couple weeks before. He had been broken into, and his mother had been threatened and tied up, and he decided he needed to protect his family. And he got a shotgun. And he went out in the backyard, and he fired it into the ground 4 times. Well, some neighbor decided they just had to call the cops because somebody's firing a gun in town. And I guess I understand that. The cops showed up. They never told him to drop his weapon. They never identified themselves as cops. They came around the corner of the house, they saw a man holding a shotgun, and they shot him. Period. Bullet went in his chest right above his heart. Didn't kill him, thank God. Bullet went in his chest right above his heart and exited his back. Now let me tell you something, folks. Cops use semi-jacketed hollow points. The exit wound with a semi-jacketed hollow point is horrendous. Cop shot him because he was holding a gun in his own backyard, on his own property. Baltimore police considered it an oopsie. He shouldn't have been holding a gun when the cop showed up. No, I see it the other way around. The damn cops should have identified themselves. The damn cops should have told him to drop his gun and given him a chance to. They came around the corner of the house, saw a man with a gun, and pulled the trigger. Sorry bastards. What else do I have for y'all? I got one that's kind of funny. Well, it would be funny if it wasn't so sad. In Kansas, SWAT team showed up at some folks' house. Bob and Addie Hardy. Now, I'm kind of partial toward these folks already. His name's Bob. Just like me. Anyway, SWAT team showed up at their house without a warrant last April. They didn't need a warrant because they had probable cause, they said. They showed up at their house and they raided it. See, the Hardys had bought some grow lights and things like that, hydroponic growing equipment. That was the probable cause. And the SWAT team showed up to catch these drug suppliers, these drug growers, these people with the marijuana garden in their basement. Well, the illegal raid. It was illegal because there was no probable cause. Buying equipment to grow plants is not probable cause. The cops broke the law. The sorry bastards need to be in jail. But anyway, the raid did turn up 6 plants. 3 tomato plants, 1 melon plant, and 2 butternut squash plants that were growing in the basement. Oh, and in an ironic twist, I'm not real sure, even though I like him because his name's Bob, I'm not real sure how sympathetic I am to the Hardys. Because even though the cops did break the law, and even though I think the cops ought to be prosecuted for it, and even though if they lied to anybody about justification, they ought to go to jail for that too, even with all that, I have a hard time being too sympathetic to the Hardys. They're both former CIA employees. I don't really care too much for the CIA. Another little story that I'm not going to go over with you, but I want you to watch it. Down below the audio player for this, there's going to be a YouTube video, and it's the Never Again campaign. It's 30 seconds long, that's all. It shows the origins of gun control legislation. It shows how gun control legislation got its start in this country. The video is only 30 seconds long. Watch it, folks. Watch it and see where the gun grabbers are coming from. People, you better wake up. You better start raising holy hell with your elected officials. They have no balls. They will not push back. You only have one chance to get any pushback out of your senators, out of your representatives, out of your local officials, because none of them have a spine. Your only shot at pushing back is to make them more afraid of you than they are of other politicians and the special interest groups. I don't mean afraid of you, afraid you'll pull a gun. I mean afraid of you that you'll fire their sorry, worthless asses. Afraid of you enough that just knowing that you're going to show up at the polls and put them in the damned unemployment line. You better get off your butts and start raising hell. And something else you better do, back at the start of this show. Just in case. Don't go starting no shit. But just in case. Be ready to do like my daddy always told me. He said, son, don't you let me hear of you starting any fights. But if somebody else starts one, you finish it. And that's what I'm asking you folks to do. Be ready to finish it if they start it. And just like I tell y'all every week, I want y'all, every time you come in contact with a government official, every time that you come in contact with someone who wants your vote to stay in office, with an unelected government bureaucrat, with all of them, every time you contact anybody that draws a government paycheck, before you walk away, whether it's a personal conversation about the weather or whether it's about something going on in the county commission or in Washington or whatever, before you walk away from them, you get hold of their hand real tight so they can't get away until you're done. And you be pleasant but firm. You smile and you look them right straight in the eye and you remind them, we don't work for you. You work for us. Well, that's about all for this week, folks. I hope y'all had a good Easter. I hope y'all have a good week and a coming weekend. And I'll see you next week. And remember, always remember, y'all come back now. You hear?